Breaking news. Putin's new evil empire includes North Korea and Hamas. At least 1,400 people were killed in the Hamas terror attack on Israel, and according to a former Israeli deputy prime minister who spoke with the Daily Beast, the international community should view this as part of a larger conflict being stoked by the Kremlin. According to Natan Sharansky, Putin, the real Hamas ally, has defined the lines of the big confrontation: Hamas, Iran, Russia, China on one side, and Israel, Ukraine, and the United States on the other. Former Soviet prisoner turned Israeli politician Natan Sharansky claimed that Russian President Vladimir Putin was developing a new evil empire to challenge the West. Experts on the Kremlin from Russia, Ukraine, and Israel told the Daily Beast that Putin is playing a dangerous global game to divert attention from his war in Ukraine. According to Ukrainska Pravda's editor-in-chief Sevgul Musayeva, there is widespread agreement in Kyiv that Putin was involved in Hamas's meticulously planned operation. The chief of Ukrainian Defense Intelligence made it clear to us that the Kremlin had known about the attack on Israel by Hamas, Musayeva told the Daily Beast. Russia's bombing of our east and south continued, killing hundreds of civilians, but news of the conflict in Ukraine faded from the front pages. News outlets continued to focus on the conflict between Israel and Hamas even after Russia bombed a funeral in the village of Groza, killing people from every other house. This played right into Putin's hands. One of Putin's great fantasies is the unification of the big Eurasia, in which countries led by longtime authoritarian leaders join together to form some kind of military, economic, and ideological anti-Western camp. And this week, Putin traveled to China to meet Xi Jinping and promote this idea. The summit with the Chinese president was met with jubilation in Russia's pro-Kremlin media. The West is nervous. The Putin-Xi meeting makes Ukraine's allies worried, reported Komsomolskaya Pravda. Propagandists on Kremlin-controlled television praised the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel as if it had been carried out by the Russian army and threatened more such attacks on other countries. Gennady Gudkov, a former lawmaker in Russia and KGB agent, warned the Daily Beast of a dire potential for further unrest. Washington must zero in on Ukraine, he warned, because Putin is quickly forming a union of tyrants and dictators in the Middle East, North Korea, Africa to outplay the United States before the elections, using the old GRU and FSB tactics of distracting attention from the main theater of actions in Ukraine. This past week, I had the pleasure of talking with the democratic opposition in Africa. Putin's Wagner, they say, has already messed up Mali, the Central African Republic, CAR, and Niger, and is now plotting to do the same to other African countries. Russia's Vladimir Putin backs terrorists in Lebanon, where the GRU may have been training Hamas ahead of an attack. Putin's strategy, according to the head of the Nobel Peace Prize-winning Memorial Human Rights Organization, is straight out of the Soviet-era's military intelligence textbooks. Moscow benefits from increased bloodshed and tragedy in regions supported by the United States. Midway through the 1970s, the Soviet GRU supplied the MPLA movement in Angola with military instruction and weapons to aid in their struggle against the United States ally, Portugal. Alexander Cherkasov told the Daily Beast that he had met with a GRU agent who had boasted that his students had gotten into mischief in no less than 6 different countries. Since the Khrushchev era, managed destabilization has been Moscow's main source of income. Putin has merely copied the old strategy by, for example, establishing bases in Syria and Africa and sending spies to stage a coup in Montenegro in 2016. The military's elite units have always prioritized growth, so this plan is a natural progression from their previous efforts. Russian propagandists and pro-Kremlin bloggers have taken to the messaging app Telegram to celebrate the West's growing fatigue with the conflict in Ukraine. They threatened to keep President Biden busy until the next U.S. election, according to pro-Kremlin analyst Marat Bashirov. Is Ukraine insufficient for you? Israel is presented here. Do we need more than Israel? This is. The enumeration is extensive. We've outplayed you, and it may take some time for people to realize it.